Welcome to the Change Exchange, where our guest today is Bertha le Roux. Most of you will know her as Emma of Sewende Laan, but that has changed quite radically, and we'll talk about that. Welcome.
Thank you.
When did you know you wanted to be an actress?
The first time I think I said to anybody I want to be an actress was in grade 4, standard 2, I think, yeah. And I said to my friend, I want to be an actress, and she said, oh, but what about the... I said, the what? The kissing. I said, I'm going to be so good, there's going to be a body double for that. That didn't happen.
You knew about body doubles?
I knew about body doubles. I don't know how, but yeah, I did. I just loved entertaining people from an early age. From the age of 2, I used to do little ballet concerts for the family and things like that. So that was, it's just always been in my blood.
And did you know that it could be a career, that one could make a living out of it?
Yes, I think I never really considered anything else. I did consider journalism. I wanted to be a photographer for National Geographic. And my other option was somebody in a nursery, a nursery teacher, nursery school teacher. So I always used to, I just wanted to entertain, I think. So I knew I had to make it work.
Can you remember the first time that you were paid to do something as an actress?
Well, I was 2. I got 2 cents. No, the first time was as an actress was with the Little People Productions. It was a children's theatre, and we went from school to school. And yeah, that was the first time. I think the other time, were family-based things and school shows and so on that you don't really get paid. So,
what's the difference between working on stage and working in front of a camera?
I think the difference is on the camera you get to do it again. If you fluff a line or anything like that, you get a second chance. And there's also a bit more rehearsal on set, as I put it that way. While on stage, you rehearse a lot beforehand, but when you do it, that's it. I mean, I once almost ended a show right at the start by giving the, I said, I can't even remember, I just said, instead of yes, I said no, and I could have ended the whole show. So you have to think on your feet, and I think that interaction with the audience is always fun. I really enjoy that.
Emma, can you remember when you got the job?
I got the job when I was working. I decided to leave children's theatre because I couldn't do auditions whilst being in the children's theatre, because all the auditions were in that kind of time of the day. So I was working for Chaz Everett for a corporate, and I went to do the audition, and they phoned me while I was at work, and I was eating a carrot. I don't know why I remember that, but I was eating a carrot, and they said, you got the role. And I said, I got the role of what? I got the role what? And they said, no, you're going to play in Sewende Laan. And I was ecstatic. But the funny thing was, I just thought at that stage, I'm too overweight to play on TV. And they actually asked me to put on more weight. So that was quite interesting.
Was Sewende Laan... did it have the iconic status that it has these days, even then?
It
What's
did.
This, 12 years ago?
This is 12 years ago, and it was 2002. They started in 1999 at the end of it. And so they've been going for about 2 years. We were only showing for 3 days a week at that stage. So they were 8 months ahead in the shooting schedule. So nobody, after about 5 months, people said, so what do you do? I was like, I work at Sewende Laan. And they went, no, you don't, because we don't see you. So they've been quite popular, but it's grown. I think it reached a height about let's say about 7 years ago, it really reached a height.
But even then, it sounds as if you had to let go of one thing, the children's theatre,
Yes.
in order to find this other opportunity.
Yes.
That must have been scary.
It was scary. Luckily for me, I did have a place to go in corporate, and which was quite flexible. But yeah, you have to make a choice. You have to decide, okay, for me to advance, I need to let go, like you say.
How did you cope with the loss of privacy?
I think the biggest thing that happened to me was I stopped looking people in the eye. I used to walk in the malls and look everyone in the eye and smile at them and just, you know, be friendly and be open to new people. And I think gradually, very gradually, I closed down. I just kind of, because now what happens if I look somebody in the eye and I smile at them, they come over and they chat. And they chat forever. And
they don't chat to Bertha, they want to chat to Emma.
Yes, they don't want to speak to me, they want to speak to Emma. That it's not a... So I think that's the biggest thing that changed in me. Coping with it, I remember the first time people kind of barged in on a meal with me and Carl. And I was like, what? But I've got food in my mouth. I'm eating. And I couldn't believe that kind of behavior, that people just come up to you and they expect you to let everything go.
To be available.
To be available to them. But you learn that it's necessary. You learn that by doing that, by giving them that little amount of time, you can make their day. And how easy is that? So that's cool.
When you got the role, did you understand the impact it was going to have on your life?
I don't think so. I think because my role, the first contract was for 2 weeks. So I thought, oh, it's going to be in and out. I was going to be that typical drama student. I won't do soap. If I do soap, I'll do it for 3 months and then I'll go, you know. But, you know, life gets in the way and reality sets in. And if you get to work in a soap in our industry, go for it. So I didn't realize...
Because there's a salary check at the end of every month.
Exactly. There's the stability of it. The absolute, you know where your check is coming from every month. I think also, I didn't realize what an effect Emma, the character, would have on my life.
What do you mean?
In the beginning, I think, thank goodness she's a lovely character. She's a lovely, friendly person who puts her foot in so many messes. It's not even funny. I think I just learned from her that, you know, learn from your messes and learn from everything. Otherwise, it's going to happen again. And, you know, she didn't. And the end of her story is her demise for not listening. You know, Rick is the character who kind of put her life in the most jeopardy. He tried to burn her alive. Then he goes to jail and he goes to Groendakkies, a mental institution. And then he comes back and she marries him. Then he abducts her child and he, you know.
Heavens.
And then she goes, oh, it's okay. And then he goes to a mental institution again. He comes back again and she goes, oh, of course I'll take you back. I mean, and the fourth time she's learned her lesson and she wants to get rid of him. And unfortunately, yeah, it ended in disaster. She shot him. So yeah, so here's a little bit of soap loving for you. But yeah, so I learned that you need to learn from your faults and your little messy mud that you make in your life. You've got to learn from it. Yeah.
I think the audience doesn't have a clue about the discipline that goes into producing, what is it, half an hour a day?
Yeah, it's 7 days, 7 days a week. 5 days a week, and we work from 7:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night.
Sure.
And when you get home at night, Sometimes I get home early. And most of the days I got home at 6:30. Then you get home, you take care of your kids, and then you have to learn lines again. So work doesn't really leave you. Especially if you're in a storyline, you're constantly thinking of where I should place this scene so that that scene doesn't feel disjointed. How much should I cry in this one so that I don't cry too much in that one? And I did a lot of that crying. So yeah, you never really leave work. So it is kind of a discipline. And we at Sewende Laan, they're very strict about words. You have to say the exact words script-wise, like it's in the script, or they cut. And you have to do it again. So, and people don't like that when they cut.
And then suddenly, to your fans' great shock and horror, you said you were leaving.
Yes. After 12 and a half years, I thought that Emma has gone through all the drama and dilemmas that she can go through, first of all. But my biggest thing about that was that I wanted to spend more time with my children. And I wanted to do something else as well. I didn't want to look back on my life and go, well, it's quite an achievement to play Emma in Sewende Laan but I didn't want that to be the only thing. And I wanted to develop and put myself out there again. And yeah, like I say, you have to leave something behind to make space for the new.
Do you know what the new will be?
Yes. At the moment, I'm doing auditions, and I want to do movies, and I'm open for theatre and all of that. But my biggest project is a project called quirky, God songs. And it started with my children who love gospel, and they just love singing it. And my youngest daughter would get in the car and she would go, "Godlikies, mama, godlikies, God songs, mommy, God songs." So I got tired of listening to the same CD and the same guys and so on. And I thought there must be a product out there. There must be a space out there to make new songs. And it just grabbed a hold of me. And I just went from there, and I spoke to Janice and JC at Life in a Bulb, and we all just got together and we made the project. And I'm so excited about it. In the end, it's turned out to be such a big emotional thing for me to start it. And also spiritually. Yes, I can sing. A lot of people, that's the first thing people ask me, can you sing? And yeah, I think that's one of the talents that God has given me that I've just kind of put underneath a bucket. I sing to my children a lot, and I've sung here and there in shows and so on, but yeah, mostly people are surprised by that. But I can sing. I'm no Celine Dion. Or anything like that, but I can hold a note.
And how far is the project?
The project is at the moment I'm doing shows at schools or churches, bazaars, birthday parties, wherever you want me. I'll come do a show. I'm finding a market very slowly but surely. People are kind of going, oh, they don't understand it quite yet.
Because they see you in a different role? Quite literally?
I think it might be that they go, but I've always been very open about my family life. I've always been very open about me being a mother and loving my kids and being a God-fearing woman. And so I think that's not the transition that I think they just go, I can get her in real life. Out of the box. She's actually going to hear when I speak to her, that kind of thing. So I think that's maybe the transition that people are finding difficult. But it's marketing. It's a new field for me to go into. I'm very excited about it. Next year we will make a DVD. My shows consist of, it's like a Vilivari for Jesus. It's like a little... we do Storia from the Bible. We've got a book that we have to open with a song. We do a craft and we sing a beautiful original song. So that's nice. And it's beautiful. I mean, 2 of the songs has been written by my daughter Kiana. So, I mean, it's just...
But Kiana's what?
She's 7. She's 7. she comes in and she just, mommy, listen to this, and she sings, and then I go, okay, and then I just refine it a little bit, and put it into a little more of a rhythm, and then we go. And I say, I'm having a ball. I'm having a ball doing all of this.
How did having the two girls, how did that change you?
It gave me a lot more patience. I think any mother will tell you that the moment that baby comes into your arms and you realize that they don't do anything that you want them to do immediately, it teaches you patience. I think, and it's just taken my perspective of life to a different level. I think having a child or children in your life, you just realize what life is about for you in this stage of my life. Before the children were there, it's more career orientated, it's more friends, it's about you. And then when baby comes, you just kind of flow over to the next level, which is it's more about family and about creating something that will last a lifetime. It's not a fleeting moment. It's quite a big difference in life that takes place when you have a baby.
When you were pregnant with Bertha, the scriptwriters actually made Emma pregnant as well.
Yes.
How did Emma and Bertha's experience of the pregnancy differ?
My realization that I was pregnant was like, yay! Emma was more like, because she wasn't married. So, and the father of the baby was not even in the picture at that stage. So, of course, she went through a lot of turmoils, that an unmarried mother would go through. Should I keep the baby? And her mother told her not to keep the baby.
Sure.
And that was quite bad for my mother in real life, because people would come up to her and say, how can you tell your daughter not to keep her baby? So that was a bit of a problem.
Was it hard to play those lines? To actually say, I'm thinking of
that wasn't
not keeping this baby?
That wasn't, she was angry at her mother for telling her to
okay.
So that was kind of, but especially when you're pregnant, you don't want to carry on too many bad emotions to your baby. So especially when I was pregnant with Kiana, it wasn't written into the storyline, and I had a very traumatic exit. I was stalked by a guy, and I was scared, and so on and so on, and I had to run and blah, blah, blah. I don't know why they made me run. But between every take, I would just, kind of calm baby and say, this is mommy's work, and understand, and, the best you can do. The best you can do. That's the only thing you can do for your child, ever. So I think the differences between me and Emma with our pregnancies were quite big, but we both had a happy ending, so that's great. I literally worked until a week before Bertha was born.
Sure.
She came early.
Is there something that you wish you had known before you had children? Would it have made a difference?
I don't think so.
It just was a natural process.
It was just a natural process. Yeah. I think it was just wonderful to be there. I think I can't even say that it costs so much money. It's not. No, this is. I'm exactly where I thought I would be with two children. Yeah.
And having spoken about the children, let's speak about their dad.
Yes.
How did you meet Karel, and when did you decide that he was the man for you?
He's the guy. I met him when I was in Standard 9 and he was Standard 8, so he's a year younger than me. It's always good to have a little toy boy. And we were on a church hiking trail, and we met. We liked each other, but he thought that I was kind of out of his league. And I thought he was out of my league, and we weren't in the same school. So, things just didn't work out. And then a lot of years later, after I finished studying, our roads crossed quite a few times, but after I finished studying, I was on my way to London, and I thought, okay,
to work, to
spend time there, to get theatre experience, to go for the passion and all of that. So that was the idea. And then I literally drove past Karel in the road like that, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I drove past his house, and I thought, oh, I should go in. And to make a long story short, we became friends, and after a while I just realized that if he doesn't call me, I get irritated, but I don't know why. And then I realized it's because I haven't spoken to him today, and I just really wanted him in my life. And it's even before we've started dating, then I just knew he's the guy, he's the one. Yeah, that was quite cool.
If you think of your wedding day, what's the most memorable moment?
I think when I walked down the aisle, I started crying, and my dad was like, "Are you okay? You can back out any moment." It was the best, but I was crying because it was such a beautiful moment. It was so beautiful and wonderful, and as the videographer kind of cleared the way, and I could see Karel, I just broke down in these heaves of joy, I suppose. Yeah, and that was one of the memorable moments for me. And the other one was, of course, the incident with the chillies. We had dried chillies in our flower arrangements on the tables, and one of the candles burnt down to the chillies. And what do you make tear gas from? Chillies. So we were talking, we went, and then somebody realized it's the chillies, and they said, "Oh, blow out the candles, it's the chillies." And it actually worked out to the better. It was a disaster. Everyone was like blowing out the candles and running outside and hanging out the windows and stuff like that. But in the end, all the adults, let me put it that way, the bigger people, the older people went, they took their chairs and they went and they sat outside. And we cleared the air inside, and we could dance and have like loud music and so on. It was a lovely evening. I think Karel's grandfather stayed until 11, which is quite a late hour for him. He's at that stage he was 70, and that was a memorable moment. Something bad happened, but it turned out to be so good.
And when you started sharing your space, living in the same space, that can be quite tricky.
It can be quite tricky.
Do you close the toothpaste? Do you pick up your
do you
underwear?
Push it from the back up? Just, no, that's still a problem. I think it's a big adjustment for anybody to start living together. And what Karel did was he had the 2-week rule. If something is bothering me and I don't tell him within 2 weeks, then sorry, gone. You can't bring it up again. Because I've got the memory of an elephant and he doesn't. So I used to fight and go, yeah, but 5 months ago you said this and this and this and this and this, and that really upset me. And he would go, but why didn't you tell me at the time? So I think the best advice from his side and from our side now is to do that. When something bothers you, tell your spouse immediately, because then you don't build up emotions.
It doesn't fester.
It doesn't build like a champagne bottle that's just going to explode. So I think that was the biggest thing. So we fought the most about the Roux in the beginning, because I would go, yeah, but 5 months, and you go, no, I'm not listening to that. And I go, but no, but it's more than 2 weeks, and you just, now it's easier for me now. It took time. It took time to get into that whole thing, So, and deciding who sleeps on what side of the bed. It's quite a thing.
Because he draw straws.
No, he just said, well, you know, I've got to protect you, so I'm sleeping on the door side. And then we stayed in a house where we had a door on the one side. Well, we're sleeping, we've got a big, huge sliding door in front of us. So I'm like, so what now? We sleep now. But we're used to the sides we sleep on now, so yeah.
Does it bother him to share you with fans?
He still doesn't really quite know how to handle it. He just smiles and gets quite shy. But when it gets too long, then he would come and he would say, listen, he would think of something, you know, listen, Kiana needs you, or you still have to go a long way, or so and so and so. He does protect me in that kind of way, that he makes sure I don't go crazy. Yeah.
My husband and I both travel.
Yes.
But we, very early on, we decided that we would never try and be at the other one's side all the time. It's impossible.
No, it's...
So we don't travel together that much. And there was one famous day at the airport when we were going away on holiday, and it was a lovely day, and I was feeling so good, and I kind of hugged him, and I said, we were standing in the queue somewhere, I so love traveling with you. And without a thought, it came out, I hate traveling with you. Because of that. Because of everyone staring, of, you know, people constantly, the attention is constantly there.
Constantly there.
It's difficult for the people close to you.
It is. I think it's because along the line somewhere I've kind of developed blinders. Yes. I don't see people staring anymore. I don't hear people whispering anymore. I'm oblivious to things like that. But Carl isn't, because he doesn't live it every day, and the kids aren't. My kids don't watch Sewende Laan, so they don't know who this Emma is. So that's quite funny. They're, Mommy, but what? You're on TV? And I go, yeah.
Was that a conscious decision?
Yeah, I think it was. I think there's so much Sewende Laan going on in my everyday life. I mean, I read the script, I watch the recordings, and then I would watch playback. And I think we just got to a stage where we didn't watch Sewende Laan anymore. And also, because Emma cried a lot. So the one or two times that we did have the TV on Sewende Laan when my mom comes to visit, then Kiana would sit there and go, why are you crying? Oh, Mommy, don't cry. And but you know, my youngest is just coming with tissues and stuff. And I'm like, but I'm not crying now. It's just, that's Mommy's work. And that's still a bit difficult for them to understand. So I think, yeah, it's a conscious decision for them not to have that. But they're a big part of Grootlikies. So that's also a conscious decision for me, because then I can take them with to shows and they can just be part of everything. Yeah.
How did you and Carl make time to be together? Because he also has a job. He's an art dealer.
Yes, he's an art dealer.
And that is not a 9-to-5 job.
No.
So how do you find time?
Well, on Sundays we would try, because he works Sundays, and he works weekends as well. Luckily only until 4, so that helps a lot. But we would go and visit him at the gallery, especially after church on Sundays. We would go there and just spend time with him until the clients come in, and people are very friendly. It's a kid-friendly environment to be in. So we sit there, and the kids can run around and be with each other.
But it's also something one has to concentrate on.
It is something that you
make a choice.
You have to make a choice, and you have to make a decision to do that. Yes. And also, I told him that you can't work seven days a week. That's not right. So on Tuesdays he's off. So now on Tuesdays, if I don't have anything to do during the day, then we would spend some time together, and maybe help clean the pool, or
do what other people do on
Saturday. You know, yeah, exactly that.
Tell me about your home. How long have you lived there and how did it happen?
I lived in my house, we've lived there for 5 years now. It's used to be my parents' house.
So you grew up there?
No, I grew up in Florida, but this one is in Constantia Cliff. It's we moved there in my matric year. So I literally remember moving in there, maybe in my standard 9 year, I can't remember. But yeah, at the end of my growing up things, I suppose. Yeah, we moved in there 5 years ago because my parents decided they want to go and live in Cape Town, in Saldanha Bay. They have a house there as well. And yeah, and I said, well, can we, can we rent your home? And they said, that would be perfect. And we rented the home, and 3 years ago when my father passed away, I inherited the house. So now we've got this beautiful house. It's on the hill. It's just got this most splendid view. It's gorgeous. So we love it.
Is that what you like most about it, the view? Or
yes.
What makes it yours?
That's what makes it so special, is the view of it. But it's also, the house is big and the rooms are big and roomy and high ceilings. And we kind of, after my parents moved out, we went in with a paintbrush because they had white walls, and we were itching to have a room that's big enough so we can paint it. So we've got a red-brown sitting room. We've got an orange eating dining room. We've got a grey kitchen that only came later, and we've got a blue room for the kids, and which is their playroom, and then we also have a pink and green room for them. So we just love it. I love it. I think my taste is kind of eclectic. It's kind of a little bit of Africa mixed with a little bit of art. And especially now that Carl's got a new job as an art dealer, we're getting a lot of paintings. We once had to keep a painting for somebody in our bedroom, and it was nice because it's a lovely, beautiful painting. And then she sold it from our wall, and I was like, oh. And then we got a new one, and so it's an evolving process to get your house to where you want it. The biggest project that we did was Carl decided he wants a new kitchen. And I say he wants a new kitchen because he's the cook in the house. He loves to cook. So, and he decided to do it himself. We kind of took out a wall here and took out the island, and it was just...
Is he a handyman?
He wasn't. He is now. He is now. He got a guy in to help him. Nelson helped him a lot. Yeah, we what was the other guy's name? This is a few years ago. Fortune cost us a fortune, but he helped Carl he learned how to dagga, put the stuff on the wall, and so yeah, that was quite a big experiment and fun. It's still not finished, but is anything ever finished?
You also started another venture a few years ago when you and you're
when I was pregnant.
Africa,
yes, yeah.
Children's clothing in African fabrics.
I love chitinga material. I think it's beautiful. It's very African, and it's also very usable because it's cotton. So my mother has this project in Zambia that she started about 10 years ago. Where she goes in and she trains ladies, she teaches them how to sew. So, and then she also provides them with sewing machines and so on and so on and so on. And the project's name is Share Your Knowledge. So they have to then go out and teach somebody else, and so on and so on. And there was so much success with it. She's still doing that today. She's 71 years old. She's still doing that today, and I'm so proud of her. And at that stage, I was like, looking for something that I can start, which is also, and I have babies. Your life takes you in a direction. So I thought, baby clothes, and these ladies are the perfect ladies to make it. So we started it off, and it went quite well. But then I had to go back to work after my maternity leave. And unfortunately, the business wasn't at that stage where I could make a living from it. Yeah. I think what I learned from there was, well, you need time to go see the suppliers, to go see everyone. There's no way of juggling 2 jobs like that. So that's what I learned from there, and that's why I decided to leave Sewende Laan this time to make quirkies work. So yeah, we will have a Christmas of crackers and end of the month, what they call it, but it will be lovely, and it will grow my business.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I hope it really takes off, and that next year is the beginning of, what are you calling it? That is quirkies.
Just quirkies. Yeah, and we also do it in English, God songs, but the trademark is quirkies. So it's yeah, no, it's just fun, and I've got a few bookings for next year. I think it will kick off. I think it will take. Oh, I didn't tell you, we're making a DVD next year, so that will also be available to buy, and then maybe going to do a TV show, and grow, get the word out there. Yeah.
All of the very, very best.
Thank
you for visiting with us.
Thank you for having me.